Welcome to the Whiskey Explorer. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. And if this is your first time to the channel, if you could please do us a big favor, if you could hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought about the video so we can help grow the community here at the Whiskey Explorer. And tonight, guys, we've got a little bit of the lighter side of bourbon for you guys. We've got a sort of a budget pick for you. We've got Old Tub by Jim Beam. Alright, so what to tell you guys about the Old Tub by Jim Beam. So this bourbon right here, this was initially a distillery exclusive from Jim Beam. So it was actually one of the bottles that you could only buy directly from the distillery. And I think even at that time when you could only get it through the distillery, it was in a smaller bottle, like it was in a Mickey size, like a 375 milliliter size. So in about June of 2020, they actually re-released the Old Tub to a larger audience, and it came in the full size bottle size, the 750 mils bottle. So this one here is sort of harkens back to the Prohibition style of bourbon. That's sort of what they're going for here. It is a 100 proof bourbon that is bottled in bond. So that means that it has to be at least aged for 4 years during a single distillation season by a single distiller. Okay, so that was kind of going back to the Prohibition era. Throwback to that. So it's bottled also at 100 proof. So bottle and bond has to be bottled at exactly 100 proof. So looking just at the bottle, I actually kind of really like that bottle design. It kind of has that old school feel to it. I kind of like that vintage style for sure. And what they're saying on here is that it is unfiltered as well for more robust flavor. So also an unchill filtered bourbon, which is nice to see. So hopefully that will contribute a little bit to the mouthfeel and to that kind of whole experience there. So without further ado, I think we should dive into this one. Check out Jim Beam's Old Tub. All right, guys, let's pop the cork on this one. And this one here is, you can see, it's actually a synthetic cork on this one. Already getting a whiff of the classic Jim Beam profile right off just the opening there. So I have actually had a time for this bottle to kind of air out a little bit. It's sort of to the halfway mark on there. So it has had a little bit of time to breathe, and I'm hoping that has like opened it up and sort of improved the flavors a little bit. Let's get a pour of this one here going. All right, check out Jim Beam's Old Tub. All right, the cap back on there. There we go. All right, so just looking at the color there in the glass, very light color. So I noticed right away on this one. Just gonna hold that a little closer to the camera and give you guys a look. It's a really kind of light amber color. Not much color to this one, like not your medium amber or even your copper color. Quite a light color in the glass there. Give it a little quick swirl, some air interaction in there. Then I'll go in for a quick nosing on this one. And let's check out Jim Beam Old Tub on the nose. Okay, so initially there's that Jim Beam kind of peanut note to it. So if you like the Jim Beam profile, I think this one's going to be a winner for you. I think it's going to hit home. It's also a very affordable offering for Jim Beam. So in the States, this is about $23 to $25 on the shelf. Here in Canada, we pay a little bit more for the bourbon for sure, with the exchange rate and everything. And we get it here for about $40. And I've actually still seen it on some shelves. So there you go. Still available, about 40 bucks Canadian, $23 to $25 American. Let's have another quick nosing here, see what I can get. So this one is like really kind of that peanut shell forward note to it. There's a lot of sweetness there as well, so there's definitely some vanilla, kind of the butterscotch caramel notes, brown sugar for sure on the nose. But overwhelmingly, I get that kind of Jim Beam, kind of funky peanut note to this one. And I do have to admit, I get always on this Jim Beam Old Tub, I always get like a Play-Doh smell to it. So that's kind of a different note. Not one that I like particularly that much. So let's go in for a little taste on this. I'll tell you guys what I think on the palate. Cheers. Okay. So when I first opened this bottle, I didn't like it at all. It had so much of that Jim Beam peanutty, peanut shell kind of flavor to it. I just couldn't really get past it. It's the same thing that I got on my batch of the Larceny Barrel Proof, which was the B520. Just couldn't really get past that sort of overwhelming peanut note. Now that the bottle's had a decent amount of time, I actually picked this up at our Spirit release last summer. So it's had some time to air out. It's had some time to kind of develop the flavors. What I'm happy about on this bottle is there's less of that kind of peanutty flavor and more sort of sweet vanilla, a little bit of caramel. There's also a little bit of pepperiness to the finish on this one. So that kind of comes a bit late for me. So it's 100 proof, so you get a small Kentucky hug going down, and then there's just like a little bit of kind of baking spice in the background as it sort of finishes. I'm gonna go in for another sip, see what I get on the second sip here, see if it opens up a little more even. That's not bad. So it's not my favorite bourbon because it still does have that peanutty profile, but luckily for me, it's a little more subdued. So on the palate on this one, first thing I get is like a peanut brittle note. So peanutty flavors, mentioned it a bunch of times on this review. Get some caramels, get some vanillas, a little bit of butterscotch, a little bit of brown sugar in there. There is a decent mouthfeel, and that's probably from the non-chill filtration and the 100 proof point on this one. So yeah, it does coat the mouth actually quite well. So that's actually quite good. The finish is a little bit of spice. A little bit of spice comes in there. We have a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of cinnamon, and that's about it for the baking spices there. That's sort of what the spice profile is. So it's more of a dry spice to it, like sort of black pepper, a little bit of cinnamon, like dried cinnamon powder, that type of thing. So that's sort of, would I buy this one again? For me, I wouldn't repurchase this bottle because it doesn't really align with my flavor profile that I really enjoy in a bourbon. So for me, I'm not replacing Old Tub, but if you are a Jim Beam fan and you do like that peanut forward profile, I think you're gonna love the Old Tub. And that'll do it for this review, guys. So thanks so much for joining me again. Until next time, may your sails be full and your drowns be fuller. Cheers.